Hey everybody, Jane here, and today I'm reviewing Ender's Game. And I did buddy read this with my brother, and we had a really good time with it. So Ender's Game, at least this is book one, it's book one in a series, is about a boy named Ender, and he's living in a futuristic world. When Ender is 6 years old, the military people, basically, come and take him away. He is the third child born into a family, and he was born specifically because they believed he had the right genetics, I guess, to make a good commander. His brother and sister had both been passed over for military commander, but they hoped the third time was the charm, and Ender ultimately had the traits that the military was looking for. So they take him out into outer space and start training him because the humans are fighting these creatures called the buggers, who are aliens who invaded Earth. And they've been at war for a while now. And they're concerned that things are getting really out of hand and that they need to be more aggressive. And they are training all the children who meet these qualifications to be military fighters. And Ender is one that is chosen. I ultimately gave this book a 4 out of 5, although I do need to say that for the majority of the book, this was a 3-star read for me. I really struggled with the earlier parts of the book, and then I really liked the later parts of the book. So this was kind of a rough book for me. One of the challenges I had with the book in general is it spans a really long time frame. If you count the last chapter of the book, which is a little bit more like later in Ender's life, we're talking from the time a child is 6, basically their whole life. At the very least, I think most of the big stuff starts happening in his teen years, but it's a lot of ground to cover. And the beginning of the book feels very much like, we took Ender here, he's doing this. Okay, he did that, so now we're going to go do this. Okay, now we're going to go do this. And Ender's proving that he's special, proving that he is the chosen one, if you will. And I found it really frustrating. Ender was very hard to connect with because they're playing mind games with him. But he also isn't much of a character in his own right. He is a character who's driving the story forward, but he doesn't have a whole lot of traits that are special and unique to him as a character. He has broad traits like a sense of justice, and he has broad traits like he's constantly fighting between wanting to protect the human race and his dislike of having to kill the aliens to do so. So I didn't connect with him until closer to the end, and I was really frustrated with a lot of the plotting because it literally felt like, okay, Ender's going here, we're going to meet all these people, and we're going to do this thing, and then Ender's going to go over here, and we're going to meet new people and do a new thing, and now Ender's going to go over here, and we're going to meet new people and do it, and that's like the whole start of the book, and it drove me crazy. I didn't enjoy it. And now some of the things I did enjoy about the book as a whole is Ender has a really close relationship with his younger sister. Or I'm sorry, his older sister. He's the youngest, my bad. He's a really close relationship with his older sister. And I think the reason I thought for a second that they were reversed is his sister, he's very protective of his sister and loves his sister a whole lot. And I think that she almost feels younger, but she is actually older. And she loves him back. And so this book, one of the things I really loved is ultimately Ender is very much motivated to do the things he needs to do military-wise because of his sister and because he wants to make sure that she is safe. And I loved that we have that relationship. That's one we don't get a lot. We get a lot of relationships of men having to save the world to protect girlfriend, child. But sister is one I don't see nearly as much as I do. And I think especially since I was buddy reading this with my brother, that was a good emotion, that good tenderness between the brother and sister here, and my own close relationship with my brother. So I did enjoy that. There are several twists near the end of this book. The one that I assume is meant to be the big twist, I did guess. I knew that was happening. But there were some other twists that I was very surprised by. And that I liked. Although one twist in particular that kind of I'm going to assume leads into the next book happening, I was kind of surprised by slash I didn't know what I thought about. I liked it as a twist, but then the ramifications I didn't necessarily like. And I'm wondering how the next book works or where the next book is going. Because this book, if you cut out the very last chapter, could have really stood alone. Like, it is a complete story. And I'm not sure. I'm either going to love the next several books because they're going in a different direction, or I'm going to be really frustrated with them. And it'll be interesting to see. My best friend has read this book series, and she said that the first book, this one, was her least favorite. She says if you just kind of like that one, you'll really probably like the others. It's not the strongest in the series. So I'm going to give the next book a try. We'll see. But this was not bad. Now, I will say, I have read other stuff by Orson Scott Card before. This is not my favorite. Orson Scott Card did a Women of the Bible series, and I remember really enjoying that. And he did a fantasy series that I read most of, called Alvin the Maker, maybe? Something like that. And I really enjoyed that series more than I enjoyed this. So if you like Orson Scott Card and haven't read the Alvin the Maker series, and you like fantasy, maybe a little more than sci-fi, check it out, because it was great. This was fine. Like I said, I did give it a 4 out of 5 because of the ending, but for the majority of it, I was really struggling. Then we got to the ending, and the ending was good. The ending would have been like, if the whole book could have been like the ending, this would have been a 5. The ending was good. But I just wasn't real. The early part of the book, I really just struggled so much. I did love the stuff that we learn about the alien race. And I love the stuff that is guessed before we learn it. And the alien race is a really neat setup. So when those reveals happened, I was really interested. And I really thought what they did was neat. I was excited. I can see why this book is a Nebula winner and a Hugo winner, and why this author is a best-selling author. He's got a lot of talent. The book is a little bit older, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons I struggled with the early part of it, is science fiction, number one, not so much my genre, and number two, older books are often told in a slightly different way. They do tend to be more like, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. I hate that. But once we got past that and I could see where it was coming together, I really did enjoy this. It was like the quilt. It was almost like a quilt, I guess. You know, if you're just looking at different patches, it's like, okay, that patch is fine. It's nothing special. I don't love that patch. I could take or leave that patch. And there were times that I thought of quitting this book because I was like, it's just a struggle. It's a struggle. If I had not been buddy reading this book, I would not have made it through it. I only made it through it because I was buddy reading. And I'm glad I did, because I did, by the time everything's said and done, enjoy it. But again, you had to step back and see the whole quilt. If you just looked at it as the early patches, it's just like, okay, it's fine, but it's nothing spectacular. It's just fine. But ultimately, did like it, 4 out of 5. Have you read this series? Do you agree with my bestie that future books are better? I heard there's also a spin-off series with a character who I really enjoyed in this. If so, is that series any good? Y'all know what I'm talking about if you read the book. Additionally, If I really liked Alvin the Maker, and so far only somewhat liked Ender's Game, what other Orson Scott Card books should I try? So leave me comments below, and anything else you might want to add about this book or Orson Scott Card or this series or even any sci-fi books that I should check out that I might enjoy that are closer to like the end part of this and don't have so much of the beginning part of it. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this, please give me a like. My social media is below if you would like to connect with me. Also, I'm a novelist. Several of my books are available on Kindle Unlimited to read for free, and all of them are available on Amazon. If you would like to check them out, whether that is to read it on Kindle Unlimited or download a sample, the link for that is below as well. This is Jane. I'll see you next time. Bye.